By the time you hear this, might still be breaking, actually. So there was talk of a uh, new trial in Austin. No, about Austin, actually. Karmelo,
About
actually,
Austin.
the Karmelo and family. They were looking
Austin
to
Carmelo.
no Austin Metcalf, the fellow that was
Ah,
murdered
okay.
by Carmelo, perhaps
Carmelo
premeditatedly,
Anthony.
perhaps.
Okay.
Who can say based on the latest of leaks? But more importantly, despite those latest of leaks, which undoubtedly would not do well should a retrial occur, well, I've got good news and I've got bad news, I guess. The good news is, well, whatever justice has been served and is going to be served. There will not be a retrial. And
This is really
unfortunately,
unfortunate
yeah,
because it would have been that he got a worse punishment.
oh yeah, yeah.
Clearly,
Unfortunately,
like it's
Well,
very
so
evident.
so hold on,
there
hold
will
on.
be no
That's
retrial.
partially correct, right? That's only partially correct.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think the overall time served would have been greater, but
I
the
think so.
punishment would have been the same because as much as everybody's calling for his death right now, the reality is that because he committed the crime as a minor, they
Right, you
tried
can't
him
get that.
as an adult, but in order to get to try him as an adult instead of a minor, they gave up the death penalty.
Well, that's statutory, and that's the thing is, I argued this before out in public, running my mouth. I said it's really stupid they didn't try him as an adult because the distinction here is while they say they're trying him as an adult, the trade-off, and it is statutory, is that they can't give him the death penalty. They can only give him like 99 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They can't even give him a life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the thing is, 35 years is bullshit. Everyone knows it's bullshit. The 17 and a half years what it is that he gets parole at, bullshit. But he could have gotten 99 years, which is what they should have done at the very beginning of this. Is like they should have just slapped him with that and been done with it, because we all knew it was going to be the outcome. Is that he's going to be guilty, and like that's the worst it can get for him.
I mean, I think there's two key things here before I dive into this too much, but I like we will because a crime and punishment I think is something that I've been thinking quite a bit about, but not the Dostoevsky novel either. The thing that has always been absent from the entire discussion of the Carmelo Anthony trial, and I think I talked about this before, is nobody has had any idea as to what the fuck his motive was. Right? We know what he did.
Now.
Yeah,
we
actually
know what
have
he did,
some
and
concept.
we knew that it like it looked, a lot of it had to be preemptive, right? Like, oh man, God, how does he have a fucking knife? Why does he have a knife in his hand? Why is he trying to stab him?
Why was he holding his hand in his backpack while he was trying to goad the guy into a reaction so he could
right. Like,
go at him with a knife? Right.
Now we absolutely know that he just basically had a murder fetish, and so he's a psychopath, and he executed his psychopathy, and got caught for it, and yeah. Now, the question here, right, is what we also found out is this was all held back as part of a gentleman's agreement. They won't bring up the fact that he has a murder fetish and was planning it, and it was clearly, preemptive. Because
premeditated murder, yeah.
In exchange, Austin won't bring up the fact that he made a couple racist comments, and
maybe,
and maybe he made some racist comments, and he had some penchant for bullying kids. Right, and I get it. The argument is
he was a violent young
man
once.
Right.
Like, come on.
They're not going to smear his character, and that kind of makes sense, except for the fact that I think that the motive of Carmelo Anthony, I think the motive of Carmelo Anthony is germane, and I don't think the character of the victim is germane.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is. I think that they should have never made the agreement because the character of Austin Metcalf doesn't fucking matter when it comes to the fact that he got stabbed to death by this beast.
Yep.
This psychotic kid decided he was going to go out and stab someone. Now, the fun thing of this, of course, is that with his admissions to the girl at the time, he didn't really specifically have the motive to go after Austin Metcalf necessarily. He was in that tent to stab whoever the fuck he could.
But
that's what it looks like from the outside.
where I come to on this, and I've kind of moved, I've moved obviously from our progressive roots, where I used to think that everybody was redeemable, and now I've kind of moved into everybody is exactly what they are.
Well, I would say interrogate your former self on this one. What would it, not that, is he redeemable or not, but what would it take to redeem a person like this?
Well, and that's the question, right?
Yeah.
That's actually literally the point that I was about to get to. Thanks, Craig.
There you go. You're welcome.
Thanks, Craig.
Let's press fast forward for you.
Asshole! So the point that I was going to get to is that we have a serious crime problem. I actually agree with the DSA that we need to abolish prisons. I think that's something we should do.
Monkey paw finger curls.
No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly correct. But like I sit there and I look at it and it's like, well, we got cases like Karmelo, who's clearly a psychopath, right? And
we can live with the DSA people.
If you think that with for 5 years, right? 5 years you get 3 hots and a cot. You are removed from all the negative social interactions that you have. You have access to therapy and medication. You
get brand new negative social interactions.
You can get trained into a new job. If at the end of 5 years, we do not believe that you can be a productive member of society,
goodbye.
Why bother, right? And so if our sentencing guideline has you out for 35 years, why? Why bother?
Let's see.
Right?
Last time I checked, and this is like a decade ago.
We should have chippy days. And chippy days are where everybody gathers around and we feed the people who've got sentences longer than 5 years to a wood chipper.
So I don't remember like the exact number, but this is circa a decade or two ago. We were spending about $30,000 a year per prisoner.
I think it's gone up.
So
actually.
I'm sure that's gone up in the interim.
I'm quite certain it's gone up. Actually, while you're talking, I'll see if I can find a current number.
Yeah, it's certainly gone up to something retarded, even with privatization of most of the prisons. So, like, 5 years at $30,000, that's $150,000. Like, that's not a small number, but that's like a reasonable-ish number to like keep a person alive in our society. I guess.
Like, if you consider for a minute, right? I think the old ways were best here, right? They had 3 real ways that they handled criminals.
Well, we killed all the violent people, like for really
for a long while. That was the one. Yeah.
The first was the stockades, right? So if you do something really stupid, then we get to throw fruit at you, right? I think that's a great punishment. We need to bring that back. If you did something that was, not necessarily a threat to society, you got kicked out. And by the way, that's basically a death sentence, right? Like, being an outcast from civilization is effectively a death sentence. And then
you become a vagrant somewhere else, which is also a crime.
Well, maybe you would if you made it somewhere else.
Right.
So, and that's the thing to keep in mind when we cast people out of society. There's a whole lot of nothing between them and somewhere else. It's not like the day where
you got a living in the middle of nothing. Good luck.
Right, you get to go off down the road, and oh yeah, by the way, the nearest town is 30 miles away, and you have to get there on foot.
Right.
Yeah, you're not going to make it. Right, you're not going to make it without synthetics and preparedness and all that other stuff. And then you have the gallows. Now, I personally think we should return to this model of things. I do support the stockades. I think the stockades are great. If you got less than 5 years,
I don't actually disagree. I'd like to add an addendum, actually, because we are at the edge of a bold new frontier, and we need people to explore. So I think, we're sending these rockets up. They're going to be landing soon. We're going to need people to get the infrastructure going in these places, get things going.
Well, and, hard labor. Right. I think hard labor.
I got to ask, Carmelo Anthony, what exactly do you think he would do to advance our missions on the moon or Mars?
We might be able to grow some amazing cotton on Mars. Who can say?
I'm a fan of, I think that the first colonies need to have, healthy, adequate people. But I do think we need to return to this outcast concept. Right? Like, we need to go to Alberta and be like, hey, we'd like to buy,
How many of these convicts can we send to
miles between your northernmost 120 miles from the border. We want to buy that, and it's going to be an open air prison.
Well, fuck it. Who owns the Northern Territories, right? I mean,
right.
You send enough of them there, it's going to be
enough. Real talk, we've probably got a couple of good spots in Alaska we could just set outside.
Over a 5-year sentence, you can go through with one of 3 punishments, right? You can go through the gallows. Just say fuck it, I'm out. Punch. You can give up your citizenship. We'll give you 100% of what it would cost to keep you in jail. You'll just get that in your bank account if you give up your citizenship, and we will pay a country in the middle of Africa. The second thing. So if you're over 5 years, right? We spend 2 years. We get we spend 40% of what it would cost to house you.
Oh, by the way, I was able to actually get that data. So just real quick. Federal, as of fiscal year 2024, was $47,162 per inmate per year.
Jeez.
State prisons, roughly median at about $60,989 per prisoner.
Well, it was like 30 or 35.
So turn around and say, hey,
right?
let's give someplace, take the shittiest fucking place in Africa, offer them 1 year's worth of prison funding. Give the people 1 year's worth of prison funding. They'll revoke their citizenship, and we deport them, and they're never allowed back in the United States.
I just watched alternatively,
thing let me finish.
Yeah,
let me finish.
Go on.
Hold on, Jew. Jesus Christ. Send everybody to Israel. Jesus Christ. If they don't want to take the deportation and permanent removal from the country option, and they don't want to take the gallows option, the third option that they should have is basically completely outcast. So we go into the Northern Territories, we airdrop them. They get to choose like a loan style, the 10 items that they want to have in a fucking backpack. And there we go. And I would love to be in the position where I strongly encourage Karmelo Anthony to take the alone package and just airdrop him in the middle of fucking Canada and walk away.
That could actually be a very,
stick an ankle bracelet on him. It's got like a little, we'll just have the number of years before he's allowed to come back, and it's got to be his whole prison sentence.
But I mean, on top of that, I'm saying that this could actually be a very money positive way of dealing with this, because all we have to do, just a couple of trail cams and some drones, and this whole thing could be streamed.
Why bother?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you
talking about revenue.
Exactly, my friend. Yes, this whole thing could pay for itself, easy peasy. I'd pay to watch.
I'd pirate the stream.
So I am in agreement with the GSA. We should absolutely abolish prisons. We just need to be smarter about it, and have chippy days and send them up to Canada, send them over to Africa. It will work out great for everybody.
It'd be really useful for these people is to send them into the national parks to find the wood people. The park people.
Ooh, nationwide snipe hunts. That's not a bad idea.
I mean, no, not like to hunt them, but like just send them out there and see what happens. How many of them find the mountain people?
Maybe. Well, somebody might come back, or Sasquatch tagging or hugging.
The ones where you go into a national park, and if you hear a young woman saying "Please help me," you run as far as you can in the other direction.
I know nothing of this.
That's good.
Mythos.
Oh, that's good. That's a good thing.
It's the kind of shit that fucking scares.
Well, it's like when you're out in the middle of nowhere in like a forest or something, and someone says your name, and you're traveling alone. It's one of those things that you want to not be near at all. You want to be far away from.
Ah.
Yeah,
okay.
It's they exist
as you do. And speaking of interesting stories, we've got a hell of an interesting story developing here. So, Garrett Langley is the CEO of Flock, and D-Flock, which we've covered a number of times here on the show. Decent folks, just pointing out where equipment is out there in the world. Not even necessarily just Flock, but any of these things.
Yeah, it's not just Flock. There's plenty of them.
True. So, D-Flock is founded by a man by the name of Will Freeman. The lawsuit. is Langley versus Freeman.
It's just funny.
I think we live in the most interesting timeline. I think.
Oh, I mean, it really is just poetic, the naming.
And just a real quick, because I did want to mention it.
Not just the Freeman there. It's pretty good.
Isn't it, though? Like, man. It's like, could you be more on the nose? Right. Like, come on. Like, Kojima? Jeez. You know? But that said, we've spoken about this before, and it's a really interesting little news program that has made use of AI in much the same way as the Will Stancil show, but their aim is different, and their style is very different. That's PsyOp Anime, or World War III. So I'll just drop a link to their latest so you can watch it, because it's just a nice... they're doing a weekly wrap-up now in a, 10, 20-minute animated news style, which you just couldn't reasonably have done something like this in the past without an enormous team and a huge studio behind you. And now it's a team of something like... I don't even think there's more than 5 people behind this thing. So they're doing interesting work. And it's cool stuff. So, take a look at that. And also, in something else that we've not had a chance to follow up on in some while, but there has been absolutely some motion. And that is Evergrande Financial. The Evergrande Group has... we've got a bit of an update for you on that, haven't we?
Yeah.
The founder has been sentenced to... life in prison after defaulting on $300 billion in liabilities.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Wow.
And Evergrande was basically the biggest home lender in existence, basically, in China. They were the big game. They're like a Freddie Mae, Freddie Mac.
There's like the big 3, and that was the big one.
Yeah. And, we reported on this a few years ago, as it was kind of, maybe once or twice. Just
their housing market was collapsing, and they were part of the reason why.
And now he's in jail, and what have we got here? As of August 3rd, Chinese real estate market has fallen to its lowest prices in at least 20 years. The Chinese century is not looking quite so bold for Mr.
That's the thing with lending out for like housing and so on, like it really should be a buyer's market, because fuck these people. I mean, that's the thing. It's not the people who own the houses already. Like, because the currency is being devalued anyway, you expect the price to go up with inflation. When it comes to people putting out the loans and as the guarantors on these, they're the ones who end up holding the primary value in the end, and it's only the equity you build on top of that. It's like, you're going to be building it anyway, as long as you get the dollar value out at the end. Fuck the lenders, because they're the ones who fuck the people. If they're just spend frivolously on investments that have no business being made.
Well,
we should have just ours wasn't a microcosm. We should have let the banks fail.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was thinking, this is actually, I don't think I talked about this last week, because I think it was something that I was thinking about this week. There's a lot of, I was thinking about sitting there and putting together a YouTube series on the, just the 5 worst policies, and it wouldn't just be one, it'd be, because you just, every couple of weeks you put out the 5 worst policies with an in-depth explanation of them. But I do think one of the absolute worst was quantitative easing. And,
right.
And what's amazing here is
number magic.
Bailing out. We came out, we bailed out the banks, and obviously everybody was pissed with the little CEOs doing their fucking cruise and all that.
Yeah.
But when you take a look at what ended up happening, quantitative easing harmed the economy basically irreparably, right? The people who were able to buy houses at those really low-end interest rates, as soon as interest rates returned to normal, which, we're kind of closer to normal, as much as everybody's like, oh my god, it's so expensive. It's actually closer to where it should be. Interest rates should be about 7%. As soon as that happens, people like me are locked into the house that we have. Because I literally cannot sell my house and then put the money towards another house, because the interest rate that I would pay on a new house is so much larger than the interest rate I currently have. And so like it becomes, no, the upside is that means that people like me are going to sit there and start spending money and upgrading these starter homes. But it also means that we're staying in these starter homes essentially forever.
It stalls the economy of it.
It stalls the economy, right? Like, and now all of a sudden you have, like, there's not that turnover in the housing market. There's not the gains and the losses. There's less supply. People are going to start turning them into rentals because
the new capital investment goes away too. You're not going to have all the new homeowners.
Because now, instead of me sitting there and taking that money in my first house and then sitting there and selling it and putting in a nice, better house and having that house appreciate in value with interest and all the other stuff, it becomes smarter for me to just sit there and keep the house that I have and just expand the number of properties that I have. So quantitative easing, basically, the reason that people can't buy houses and can't afford houses is we basically, all the boomers who were over leveraged got to keep the value of their house because quantitative easing came in and supported the housing bubble. And then on top of that, it trapped people into these low interest rate mortgages. And because the cost of money was so little, essentially you want to talk about DEI, where does that come from? That comes from the fact that money was cheap. More than anything else, it comes from the fact that money was cheap, because now you don't have to have a return on investment. You can spend if you turn around and if you're a really wealthy guy who has access to Federal Reserve money, you could turn around and let's say you're extremely liberal, you can go spend money on ESG. Why? Because you don't need a return. The money's basically free. So almost anything that you spend money on, you get money back. And then, you can sit there and start spending money on advocating towards the government and trying to steer government contracts that way. And it basically locks it in at this much lower ROI over like a traditional company run a traditional way, seeking new technologies and advancement. And so basically we stalled out the economy. Quantitative easing as a single policy is essentially the reason that everybody thinks everything sucks all at once. It's terrible.
Well, certainly one of the chief reasons, that's for sure.
I would argue that it's probably the only reason.
Well, that's certainly not the only bad idea involved, though.
No, like, I do, like, we can turn around and take a look at labor laws and environmental laws, and then sitting there and offloading our what we think, and I agree, labor laws are good, environmental laws are good, but we offloaded the responsibility and costs associated with that to China by just buying Chinese goods without sitting there and saying, hey, you're not actually producing things according to our standards.
We don't enforce. So the way we would do this in the past was we would enforce regulations or tariffs.
Yep.
We'd say, look, the tariffs will come down if your child labor laws improve.
Yep.
But Nike wanted better shoes for higher margins.
Yep. And so like again, the top 5 policies, quantitative easing is 1. I think our tariff policy as a whole is 2, but really, because I don't think it's bad to have a good environmental policy. I don't think it's bad to have a worker safety policy, but we need to reflect that with the nations that do not adopt those same ethics and work practice standards. Like, we need tariffs to protect our workers. And that means things are going to be more expensive, but we voted for that. We voted for things to be more expensive because we want to have the employer pay for PPE. We voted for things to be more expensive because we don't want the guy dumping shit in the fucking lake.
You get Democrats who'd rather have the government tax you and somehow waste the money on enforcing laws instead of having us pay slightly more for the products, but no, we're getting them here and getting them made right. We'd rather have, like, that's a fundamental disconnect, is that somehow government is going to do things more efficiently than the private sector when it comes to things like enforcing, or not enforcing, maintaining an environment, maintaining, clean water, clean air, etc. when it comes down to locality, it's to a company's benefit to make sure that the air is clean, the water is clean, and so on, because the employees aren't going to rip the company apart from the inside. When it comes down to government, it's better because then maybe they'll elect me next year, but I don't actually have to do anything. I can just promise it again, which is why it didn't fucking happen.
Yep.
Oh, and just by the by, because there's really not a whole lot to this news. It's just interesting, and people are probably still sticking around to this point. Grand Theft Auto 6 has dropped. You can find it,
it did.
At the places.
It did.
And the trailers dropped too.
You know what's really
Netflix.
sad about that though is the employees who are so upset about being laid off after the company said if you don't like it, don't buy it, which historically has always worked out well for the company.
Did they actually say that?
Rockstar has not.
There's a post. Not is there? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I did confuse two stories there. That's The Witcher I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah, The Witcher said that. Yeah.
No, the Rockstar guys have not. Now, that said, they did outsource a lot of their work to India. And from what we are currently understand, as far as where the leads are, again, this is not final, but it certainly appears that their office in India is where all of these leaks
that's
originate.
definitely where that happened.
Yeah, probably.
It's one of those things. This isn't just like a thing unique to Rockstar. Microsoft has been dealing with this pretty painfully. Dell, among others. China and India. If you send anything there that's important, it will be leaked, or if you send something that isn't safeguarded properly, it'll be broken. And it's one of those things where you send it far enough away, it's no longer in your hands, and it is going to be fucked with by people who don't know any better, or who know better and are doing it maliciously.
So I interviewed for I don't know if you guys know the company, but Plug Power, years ago.
Uh-huh.
Back in like 2018, I think it was. And so I was interviewing for kind of a field engineer position that they had, and I don't think that blended because I was kind of a climate skeptic, and those guys are ideologues, right?
Right.
They had just suffered a massive shock to their stock price, because people were concerned about fraud and some other stuff. I can't remember exactly what. And so, I wanted to talk to them about that, and they had a really good. Their response was, basically, they come in and they send inspectors here, and the inspectors kind of just make their assessment, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, right? Mm-hmm. Something along those lines. And right. I don't think they were being fraudulent, but it was their argument was that these people come in and they won't even look at supplies or materials; they'll just make an assessment based on something that's something else. But one thing that they did talk about at the time was that they were going to be attempting to get into China. Now, for those who don't know what Plug Power is a fuel cell company, hydrogen-based fuel cell company, and they were going to go into China with their technology. And I turned to them, I'm like, you guys do understand that if you go to China, like, you're going to lose any intellectual property rights. Like, we're going to be really, really careful about it. I'm like,
yeah,
no,
that's not how that shit fucking works. And so their stock,
they don't care.
I think they ended up announcing the deal or something like that. Their stock skyrocketed, did really, really well, and then all of a sudden it turns out all the contracts failed and they lost their IP, and I don't know where it is now, but
that's the thing people don't realize about China is that in China, Chinese people come first, which we should be doing here in America.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I expect that of them. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
If they have a dispute, they will always side with the Chinese party, either as an adversary in court or as the government itself. So either party members or parties, as in two parties in a trial. They will always side with the Chinese party in a trial.
And just real
And
quick, because
there's
I
nothing
happen
to do
to
about
have
it.
had someone
5 years
who's
ago,
living in
Plug
Shanghai
Power was
on
at
here a number of times.
$40 a share.
Well, just
Now
real
it's
quick,
down
I
to
do need to
$2 a
mention,
share.
because I've had American on a couple times, also, you don't necessarily have to be Chinese as long as you are directly dialed into the culture and part of society. Like, if you're just another cog in the wheel, you're actually fine too. They're kind of accepting that way.
Unless you're black.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
that is
Okay.
a big shocker for black people
True.
who go to China and find
Actually.
out they're shooed out of McDonald's.
Yeah. Yes, actually, that is a thing.
They
Completely.
still have produced the best washing machine detergent.
Oh
I've
my
ever
god,
seen.
that
man.
fucking commercial.
Oh, man.
That is
So,
my favorite of all
so
time.
hilarious.
I will never not appreciate the Chinese people for just kind of saying it like it is.
They are blunt about what they believe
Definitely.
in that regard specifically. Yes.
And since I was, talking about the kind of similarity between Evergrande and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, I should probably mention them because they've been in the news lately as well. Yes. They've got some new monetary packages, you might say, some lending options. As a matter of fact, let me see here. What's one of these? The Musharaka Islamic Finance Mortgage. Let me see here. That is designed to comply with Islamic law. How about that? Well, that's super interesting. Wow, that's a really neat addition. That'll be very helpful for Muslims here in the United States.
Speaking of Muslims and compliance with things like that, a Democrat. So you of course know about Abdurrahman Muhammad Al Sayed.
Familiar. He's an
Yeah.
up and comer, actually, a rapper at one time, if I'm to understand correctly.
A Democrat, same area, has refused to endorse him. Is now endorsing the Republican opponent.
Oh my!
Because she cannot bring herself to endorse Al Sayed.
Wow, that's
which
quite something.
I thought was, that's
legitimately quite something.
That so says to me that this person either grew a spine or a brain or both, and is now seeking self-preservation.
I don't think it has anything to do with either of those.
Well, I was about to say I don't think the party apparatchiks have come down on El Sayed.
It's not about that. It's not about that, right? The party itself has.
Oh, it's a black woman, so.
Has decided to very hard go after woke. They're trying to distance themselves. They're trying to brand it as woke 1.0, which none of them are providing.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. And then, just...
So,
let's just look at the primary here in Florida where the fucking socialist one, the Marxist one, the Democrat for the Senate.
But the thing to keep in mind is they're going to win these primaries because they're going to just swarm it, and they won't win the generals.
Yeah.
It's a self-contained problem. I'm sure that some of them will slip in, but guess what? We had the whole squad.
This is where what was unique to the situation is not that she chose to not endorse Al Sayed. It's that she chose to endorse the Republican over him.
Yeah, that is a bold move,
which I thought was pretty indicative of the schism going on in the Democratic
very
Party.
Much
and like you said before, we need two functioning parties in this country.
It's a very good thermometer, as it were, to kind of rely on what the temperature really is. And also, as an addendum to that Fannie Mae Freddie Mac story I just shared with you, and it's a big one. It's a real big one because some weeks ago we did tell you that Bill Pulte had been put in to a rather an important position, one that I was glad to see him in because he's just a stand-up dude, that being the Director of Federal Housing. Well, as the Director of Federal Housing, he had something to say about those Sharia programs, and that is this. I'll just read it, and I quote, Effective immediately, these programs, along with kosher and Amish programs, will be open and marketed to all Americans. Okay. There you go.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's totally fair. You know, if you're going to have it one way for one and not the other, well, no, we're just going to have it that way for everybody, or we're going to not have it at all. So we're just going to have it that way for everybody, I guess.
To clarify something, which I think is hilarious the way it's brought up by certain people. There are a type of loan that banks will offer to Jews on occasion, depending on the bank. Usually it's a private bank that does this. That technically doesn't charge interest. The difference is that they get the money up front as a service fee, and it is interest. The overall cost is higher.
Well, that depends on the bank.
Somehow this makes certain people jealous. and I got to level with you here. They will happily do the same loan with you as a Gentile because they're getting paid more. And
well,
you can go and think that you somehow won. You beat the banks because you paid the massive service fee up front instead of paying interest on a loan over time. It's a guaranteed income. Like that, they will happily do that for you. They will take the entirety of this extra interest up front instead of taking it over time, where you could possibly overpay on your payments and reduce your overall interest burden.
Oh, and you know, speaking of cell phones, should probably mention this one too. At Senator Graham, no, not Lindsey, because he's dead. Actually, no, we've got evidence this time. It finally happened, and Darlene replaced him.
Has a seance been performed and they heard screaming from fires?
Maybe, I don't know. I couldn't say.
Okay.
Because this isn't actually related to him so much as what happened at a rally for Senator Darlene Graham in Myrtle Beach, actually. There was a fella that was, well, he had a few things to say, but then the crowd really, the crowd just kind of heckled him, and he got taken out of the event, you know, the whole take their coats and everything. But unfortunately, this fellow was wearing a Kill Your Local Pedophile t-shirt. And he was making not crazy remarks, just, you know, hey, we want answers about files and things like that. And so, you know, as it is, you know, it is our duty to report on the things that are uncomfortable, and that's kind of uncomfortable. That's a real bad look, man. It's a real bad look. And, you know, on the same note, speaking of bad looks, Alex Jones, he's had some complicated days of late. Some very.
Well, he recently got a break, didn't he? I believe
he did. But you know, first and foremost, he's had a bit of a feud with old Tim Pool because he said Tim had sold out.
Yeah, that really surprised me.
And it just kind of made him look like a bit of an ass. I'm not gonna lie, because you know he.
Well, that's his typical, man.
Well, his typical is going out with something and being able to back up what he's saying. In this case, he got nothing. He went with the same kind of stuff that, you know, everybody else goes out with the talking points. Like, you're the Russian, this and that. And it's like, well, you know, if you bothered to do any research, Alex, which you normally do. But anyway, whatever.
Are you trying to tell me that Tim Pool is not turning the frickin' frogs gay?
So like, it would appear. So it would appear. Apparently it's atrazine. Who would have thought? But despite that, despite the you know, silliness and nonsense of that, Alex deservedly has gotten a bit of a break. Texas court has slashed one of his judgments, a $50 million judgment, down to 1.5, based on the 2012 shooting.
Retardation.
Yeah.
Based on the retardation that was going on.
Yes. So, you know, as much dumb shit might be going on right now, and as much as it's worth mentioning, you know, there's more. There is more, thank goodness. Oh, and something else. Yeah, we had just tying back into what else we were talking about just a minute ago about you know, having to get rid of people at places, and you know, employment issues related. Got an interesting thing showed up on Reddit over the last week or two. And that was an AMA from a guy that works in internal affairs. And this fella that works in internal affairs, I mentioned fella specifically because, well, very pertinent to the story. Out of, let me see here, was it just this year or was it last year that he started doing this? I think he just counted it for like 1 year. All right, so yeah. Okay, in a 5-year contract, working with this one company, he has had to do 274 firings for women.
I'll be right back.
And in 3 years. Okay. So in 3 years, on a 5-year contract, he has received 300 sexual harassment claims. Out of the 274 women, that he's had to work with as his internal affairs. This is going to be people that are like stealing or hiding things to use later, taking company data to use afterwards. You know, any of the things that, you know, you're going to have trouble with when you're working in industry, basically, like you know, employees becoming spies or even just taking shit home. Either way, out of all the 274 women that he's had to investigate, 217 of them have filed sexual harassment claims based on the time that they were in his office. And this is the whole, you know, office space, what would you say you do here thing. And the guy's got cameras everywhere. What is it he says here? He's got 6 different cameras recording at any given time. And despite that, of the 274 women being recorded, aware that they're being recorded, or at least being made aware at the beginning, I'm sure any number of them forgot, but that's a staggering number, and it just goes to speak for how much make work we're putting out there, and how many unqualified people are being put into these positions, but also at the same time how much entitlement we're putting into these people, that they feel they can just do this, and it's genuinely inappropriate. And while we're on the topic of inappropriateness, somebody posted something just yesterday that's, man, it is super noteworthy. And I'll just read the thing off to you here. They did it in the TLDR green text format here. It was posted originally on 4chan, titled Destiny's Fuck Toy, interestingly enough. Anyway, it does he give the name in here? Okay, I'll save that for the end. Perfect.
Wow. All right, I'm going to have to spend a couple minutes off the headset here, but Destiny's Fuck Toy.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Went on cocaine bender with Tommy Robinson, gave him a blowjob even though he was married, had sex with Andrew Tate, got raped by him, now has herpes.
Oh.
Had sex with Destiny. You know exactly who you're... Had sex with Destiny and got impregnated by him. Did this all while being married.
I actually posted that earlier.
Yeah. Did all this while being married to some Filipino Fed who worked for the Australian intelligence agencies. Got divorced, is now a single mom. Complains that the right is mean and toxic for making fun of her bad decisions. Guess who? Anyway, so I'll throw a link so that you can verify your guesses. But it is those Foids. Oh, those Foids. I tell you. Oh me, oh my. So, man, what else? We got Mark Cuban and James Tallarico. They're palling around down in Texas, thinking that they can get something done. There's an excellent picture of the two of them. Let me see here. James has got his hand firmly grasping a large kind of rod of meat, and he's got his mouth around the base, while Mark Cuban has his lips firmly wrapped around the tip of the large brown chunk of meat. Anyway, so, you know, keep that in mind as you go to the polls. Let me just grab the picture because it's absolutely classic. I'll actually drop that in staff chat for you guys too because it's worth using later. It's a good one. It's man, James Tallarico is apparently polling well, but then again, so was Kamala. So it's entirely possible that we are dealing with the same pollsters. Wouldn't surprise me all that much.
Well, what was it? And Tim Pool was reporting earlier this week that they were off by a factor of 20 in a couple of these things, and there was a pollster that was found to just basically be making shit up, and they said, "Oh yeah, we just wanted to see how quickly this spread through whatever."
Okay, you're both using a slightly different version of the word poll and pollster here when you're talking about Tallarico.
Not really. If you'd have caught the description
of
him wrapping his lips around the meat,
you
would understand that I was actually using poll in I want to say androgynous, but we'll just say an ambiguous way.
Specifically, you can see he polls well with others, like Mark Cuban.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Literally. As a matter of fact, I posted the image for everyone to view.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, they those fellas really know how to wrap their lips around some meat.
They poll well together, don't they?
They do. They can. At the same time, even they can work a poll or something.
Sounds like an AI thing.
If only. It
wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, hey, a quick reminder, too, as of recording, at least it is...
Mark Cuban outwardly gay? Is like he pronounced gay?
Well, I mean...
Oh, no, is he out of the closet? No.
Yeah.
No, Mark Cuban's a very metrosexual man, so who can say? He's always very well dressed.
He gets angry at the gym if you ask him, why he's so upset with Trump. It's very funny.
Yeah.
That somebody would bother asking him at the gym why he's, upset with Trump instead of why he's working the shaft on the rack.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, just the some people make decisions, they make interesting decisions. Oh, but since we are kind of falling back on old stories and giving some updates here, we've got another one here for you out of the D.C. District Court of Appeals, and that is going to be relating to Democracy Partners versus O'Keefe. Now, previously, we had reported that O'Keefe actually lost that initial case. Well, that has been overturned. So, and no less out of the D.C. Court of Appeals. So, these are not the friendliest of judges to civil rights and matters as such. So, to see something like this, excellent result. More than glad to see it. Need to see some more of it. Most definitely. And also, just a real quick one, James O'Keefe also put on his Saudi garb, and I think he went and didn't quite vote, but made the motions to get any number of people registered and such like in Minnesota, and had no difficulties. And then, of course, also Nick Shirley did the same thing, although in this case he went a step farther and actually did some of the, I don't know how far into the registration he went, but he went far enough in that they think they can get a case against him. So they're trying to get him, unsurprisingly. Let me see if I can find the specific charges they're trying to throw out on here. Nick. All right. No, that's the old one. Let me see. Where's the most recent one? Because they're trying to get him on this. I know they are. Well, I can't be surprised. Google's not going to cooperate, but could you really be surprised with that? So, moving right along. What else we got? I guess we got maybe some motion on Derek Chauvin. Maybe, maybe not. We do, however, have a lot of people talking about Derek Chauvin, and a number of folks, including Elon Musk, pointing out that nothing was done outside the bounds of how it was supposed to be done. Everything was handled by the book. And as a matter of fact, Elon recently learned what we've known for quite some while, that there was an ambulance sent out, and because of the raucousness of the crowd, they weren't able to approach for nearly 20 minutes. And
well, they also went the wrong direction and lost 8 minutes, right?
Okay, that too, yes.
Yeah, they couldn't have gotten there anyway.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It's
Dispatch fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
And so for that, Derek Chauvin's in jail. But there is another interesting little tidbit we've got on that. And that is, there's a little more. You see, Todd Blanche, he was... wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong person. Sorry. Which one's he? Is that well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Keith Ellison, excuse me. Keith Ellison was never supposed to get that case. It shouldn't have gone to him. And there was never a grand jury convened. The case was assigned directly to Keith Ellison by Tim Walz, which we have recently learned. I'll throw a link to the current events from Pasovic that's got the whole shebang in there if you'd like to check that out. But yeah. So we've got that. We've got Elon Musk now speaking about human events. That's what it is. But Elon has pointed out the hypocrisy in the case. It's just really something else. Oh, and speaking of hypocrisy, and getting back to James Tallarico and his proclivities. Anyway, there's a bill that he rather liked, supported it for some while. It was let me see if I've got the exact bill. Oh, dang. Afraid I can't. Well, I'll see if I can find it for later. But anyway, it was a bill that would have... it was one of those anti-speech bills. It was one of those, if you're posting memes, we're going to send you to jail. I think we probably... Man, that sounds like something... I think we reported on that. I can't remember the exact bill, but that sounds too familiar. And pretty much any time that's come up, we've been reporting on it. So just, pour through the back episodes. You'll find it. It's there. What else have we got? Man, there is just...
There's one thing we specifically should talk about.
There is plenty. What you got?
One that people are probably tired of hearing about, Lindsay Clancy. More specifically...
That's a tiresome
story. The insanity of the women who are advocating for her to the point where they are blaming her husband, who was not in the fucking house at the time, and everyone can prove it, and proven in court.
Mm-hmm. That's
true. And the people who are, specifically people like Tommy Lauren, who are saying, conservatives Republicans are about to lose women the way that Democrats lost men because they're not taking a bunch of crazy harpies seriously. It's like, look, it's not about all women. It's about this one woman who decided to murder her 3 children. That doesn't invalidate postpartum depression overall. It just means that this one woman should not be excused because other women happen to have gone through depression after they gave birth. That's all it means. Somehow this has been extended to an insult to all women because they have a fucking hive mind.
Well, and I've got 2 differing points on that I was actually wanting to discuss. But yeah, go right ahead.
Let me offer a contributing point here. The thing is that the majority of women are vehemently opposed to whatever. Like they're looking on in horror to the whole thing. And
right.
Like Chew on Head's done stuff. I've talked to my wife about it. We've met with family relatives.
I would say most mothers are looking on horror.
This is a very, very tiny subset. Now,
but somehow you have thought retards like Tommy Lauren saying you're about to lose women. Like,
yeah. Well, it goes to the same thing of like you show a whole bunch of people standing outside. Maybe there's 2,500 of them. Right, each one are trying to be TikTok famous because there's 1,000 people who are trying to be TikTok famous. That doesn't mean it's the majority. The majority are looking on in horror and going like, "Yep, we're about to lose our rights because these people can't fucking control themselves."
Mm-hmm.
Like it is. I feel really bad for
sane women. Fair.
Yeah, the rest of the population. condition.
Well, and let me present two positions. One from someone that we've covered before, a brilliant mind that unfortunately has been driven to the brink in cases, and I would honestly say a very Terry-like character. You know, there's a lot there, a lot of good there, a lot brilliant mind, but when bad things happen, you know, sometimes you deal well, sometimes you don't, and so, you know, broken clocks. But anyway, from this person, I'll just put this out here. PPD, whore depression, is entirely due to whoredom and the modern defeminization of young women. Postpartum depression is negatively correlated with AFS, age at first sexual intercourse. PPD is positively correlated with NLSP or body count. And he does post some studies that do show these to be the numbers. But that's the thing, you know, when, and I'll admit this to myself, when you've been hurt, you shut down a bit. And so, I'll just read off a reply from a listener, viewer, personal friend, and that is not buying that for a minute. Postpartum depression is normal due to rapid depletion of pregnancy hormones after delivery of the baby. Every woman experiences some degree of emotional letdown after giving birth due to erratic hormone levels.
That's absolutely true.
And then she continues, not all women go on to commit horrific crimes or horrific acts to their offspring as a result. Either they have not received proper support and treatment, or they have something else going on mentally to do this. This paper will only further stigmatize a condition that is real and, as most experience, perfectly normal, cause normal, decent women to forego getting help for it if they legit needed it, for fear of being labeled as a whore, and will cause many more outcomes for these women and their families, which, you know, she does make a fair point. And the farther point, female hormones, the roller coaster that never ends, it's no joke. And that is absolutely a fact. I know my man there can certainly report on the state of female hormones, having had to deal with.
I gotta tell you, if you think that you've gone over the tallest hill in the roller coaster with dealing with pregnancy and childbirth, just wait till menopause shows up.
Whoo, boy!
Whole new ball game, whole different dimension of it.
Wowzers! But also related, sadly, incredibly fucking sadly, we got our first copycat.
Oh, we got more than one copycat now.
We do. The first one was August 8th. Mother slit her 3 children's throats.
Yeah, it's really
and
really fucked up.
And it's just
it sucks, but natural selection is a bitch.
Yeah, that's kind of what it boils down to. But at the same time, like, it really does suck.
Well, unfortunately,
also,
those kids aren't able to.
This happened 3 years ago, and people are up in arms over the ex-husband, getting remarried and trying to move on with his life. Sorry, this happened over 3 years ago, like 3 years and 7 months or whatever. Like, people getting upset
and
that this guy
another note actually
moved on.
About this is that his son, I believe it was 2 girls and a boy, I believe, but the boy ran from her.
Yeah, she chased down.
He ran, and do you know where he ran to?
Dad's room, right?
Yep, he went to his dad's office because he hoped he might be there and save him.
Nah.
And he couldn't. And
that tugs at your heartstrings pretty bad, doesn't it?
And the worst part is I'm not done. Because there is a 911 call from him as he is discovering this all live. And it is the most harrowing shit you will ever in your life hear.
This is one of those reasons why, as simple as their job tends to be, I do have great respect for dispatch callers, because they have to be they are in the unenviable position of being able to do basically fuck all about helping someone who might sound like they are going through the worst time of their life. And if you're at all empathetic, that will eventually wreck you.
Yeah, that's heavy shit, and you're dealing with it all the time.
Like, all fucking day. I mean, there's going to be the spam callers and the the prank callers, et cetera, but like you're gonna have to deal with pretty frequently people going through fucking insane stuff, and all you have the ability to do is say, okay, remain calm, I'm sending the cops, they're on the way, name, address, etc.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those people have had to listen to somebody die over the phone?
Pretty much.
That's that's not even me like joking around or being ironic.
No,
I mean, that's
just
a literal, straight up statement of I wonder. And
now,
I know that number is going to be pretty terrible in some cities.
Speaking of wondering, and on a lighter note here, a previous topic of public inquiry has come back.
Go on.
In light of all of this. An Aussian one, if you will.
All right.
So, given what's been said by these liberal white women holding up strangle hands in solidarity with Lindsay Clancy,
won't someone think of the
and
Benoits?
Casey Anthony, who has, by the way, come out and said, like Candace Owens, that they believe that Lindsay Clancy is not guilty.
I hear that Chris Benoit might have been under the influence of drugs. I've heard this.
Given all of this, as a man, and Steve as a father, who would you rather let your child? Who would you rather your child be with? A liberal white woman who has decided that Lindsay Clancy is innocent and that the father did it, or a bear?
Well, I mean, I think my favorite stories coming out of this are the guys who have the guy who sat there and ex-wife posted something about in support of Lindsay Clancy, and so he sent a police for a wellness check, and she ended up going to the loony bin.
Wow!
Because she decided to cause shit.
Yeah. So my answer is the bear, because the bear
fellas,
would at least leave your kids alone
if you're listening,
they tend to be dead.
We don't advise you to do that. But if your ex is a little wonky, maybe she needs a check for her wellness. Just saying.
Yeah, do not file false police reports.
Only correct police reports.
But
no false ones.
File valid police reports.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of valid police reports and also following up on old stories, I've got a great one for you. This one's out of Ohio. We previously had covered this, of course. A fella by the name of Cody Morlock is alleged to have brought down a flock camera. Of course, we all know it was climate change, and so did the grand jury. The grand jury refused to indict because they know that no person could do something like this. This is beyond the capabilities of a man.
It's impossible.
He
was on the other side of town.
Yeah, absolutely. He was there were plenty of people saying that he wasn't there anyway, so there's no way he could have been.
He was in a different state, in a different country.
Probably. So, the flock camera probably cut itself down, really, if we're being honest.
I hear those things are horribly unreliable.
Well, they are. They install them so quick they can just fall right over.
They record things that
Strong
don't
breeze,
exist. It's AI. It's hallucinating.
Yeah, all those things. All of those things. So, yeah, the grand jury would refuse to indict entirely, and charges have been dismissed. Jury nullification for the win.
Suck it.
So there's your first happy story. And I've got another, just to go right on the heels of that. Paramount. Yes, that Paramount. They're on the way out. Not a business, not of entertainment, no, of California. They're headed to Austin.
Good. They're,
I know.
The places in Texas, Austin is admittedly probably the most California.
Let's be real. That's where they were going to always go. Is there or Dallas, and Dallas is too business. So it was always going to be Austin, and Austin is going to get weirder.
Which is it's better that they end up there than Houston. That's all I get. That's fair. That's fair. I just wish they would leave the fucking California in California, but they're incapable of that.
That would be nice.
So they have to learn the error of their ways by force.
Yeah, basically.
I would say there's peacefulness to the ways, but there aren't.
Kind of seems like not. kind of seems like not. Oh, and speaking of the error of your ways, too, let me just grab this video real quick, because since we're talking about Flock. Was it Emperor, or was it... No, Lord. Lord Vader appeared at the San Diego City Council, and he had some wonderful he was and exuberant. Helpful words to say about just how great Flock is, and how it is, and I quote, "This is what the Emperor needs." So just think about that. If you're thinking that Flock's bad, well, maybe Darth Vader disagrees with you.
There are age brackets with stories to them. So there used to be a thing we would say back when I was doing Godfrey with the others. It was funny because so many of the liberals, the lib shits, if you will, or shit libs, either way, the saying was read another book, because all of them basically framed life about in terms of Harry Potter. And this is before calling the cardinal sin of saying trans people aren't fucking real. Sorry, trans people are crazy. Not that they're not real. This is before J.K. Rowling schismed the universe. When they all were in lockstep behind Harry Potter, it was read another book. And the same thing can be said about Star Wars fans and Trekkies and so on. Get into it. Find another set of
find another hobby to ruin. Oh, wait.
But that said, I mean, it's time for the humor of this person being clearly in that category. It's pretty fucking funny. Like it's really funny how that tracks universally. Like, it's not a left or a right issue. Or an authoritarian or libertarian issue.
Yeah,
it's just that people find these stories and they like to gauge life within convenient narratives because they're simple and they're universalized. So it's great that they came in and just like, yeah, the Empire loves this. This is what we need.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a clear statement. Lets you know.
But that said, this is where. People, if they bring up like Pocahontas or a story of going after, being nativist, having the conversion of a foreigner into a native ally, it's not Pocahontas, it's Ferngully. It's like,
there you go. And since we're on the,
it's one of those things, man.
Since we're on the topic of getting out of California,
it's Poca-Fernvitar.
Well, we've got another one that's on their way out, and
it's not Romeo
that's the
and
Colonel.
Juliet. It's Pyramus and Thisbe.
Well, the Colonel's leaving too. 44 restaurants permanently going to be closing at KFCs around California. Over the next year.
I saw a recent meme about the coming wars, where we're going to have to pilot McDonald's bots, the giant mechanoid. Moving cathedrals in the vein of Warhammer 40k to combat epic. Once they come out with their 12th urban spice.
Oh. Well, all I can say is, the South will rise again. Kentucky
begun the Grown Wars have. Sorry.
The Grown Wars is more like, but anyway.
That's what I said.
Oh, it is? I thought you said drone. Damn it. Anyway.
Oh, nope.
Well,
I was being mildly self-aware, damn it.
Oh.
Why do you have to steal this from me?
I am affirming you. You are now affirmed. Congratulations.
I feel validated.
You should. You should feel as validated as a Cambridge academic.
Oh, boy.
I'm surprised that story's still going on.
It's funny because you would not be the only one. For instance, the black man eulogizing him couldn't remember which R-Day he was talking about. Was it James or was it Jason? Because he went with James.
I was actually going to talk about the Belgian who works or worked. No, he still works there officially for the moment at Cambridge.
The story did continue with that part too. Yes, that was very interesting.
Yeah, the guy who kind of brought all this up. Well, he's in some hot water because he kind of accused Jason Arday of something that we actually proved out last episode.
It's not just that he accused him. It's that he accused him, and it was true.
Yes.
Huge sin.
Enormous. Original sin.
And like I said last time, we're seeing what would have happened had Claudine Gay been as cowardly as Jason Arde. James Arde.
Oh, I got that backwards. American academic at a Belgian... Wait. Holy shit. Really? Okay, this is even dumber than I fucking thought. All right. The guy's American, criticized a Cambridge professor, works at a Belgian university. I thought Kaufness was at Cambridge. Holy shit, this is even dumber than I thought. Wow.
He's at Ghent.
Wow.
His thing is it doesn't matter where he works. He credibly accused a...
Oh yeah, he spit in the Shibboleth's SI. You know?
He credibly accused a provably... he basically accused a plagiarist of being a plagiarist, and he was correct. And that destroyed the narrative that Cambridge was holding together over this guy. And you see, the thing is, like I saw earlier, the little interview story they had about this guy going and becoming a professor, like getting in, to their program, and the guy who propped him up. And it's disgusting. It's really disgusting. And it looks like it's a positive vibe story and everything, but it's like this is a story of a guy who took a pathological liar and turned him into a professor.
Yeah. And there's
like,
at
all
any
people
point...
that should have known, this guy was the closest to him and should have known. And he pushed this guy into a position where he was going to fail miserably.
And just to note that that Kaufness is under fire as of like fucking yesterday. Now, what were we just talking about, Steve? How woke 1.0 was crazy?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was crazy, guys.
You guys are crazy. That was silly. That probably didn't even happen.
Yeah. It's like that stuff we said about how you should lose your job under COVID. Like that's all forgiven, right?
Well, and I
was crazy.
I'm all for them to turn around and have like a change of heart, but they need to explain that change of heart, how far it goes. Them just be like, oh yeah, that was pretty crazy times. Okay, well, are you saying that you just get caught up whenever things are crazy times, or are you saying that like you regret or disagree with things? Because if you're saying you regret and disagree with stuff, I want to know the specifics. What specifically are you disavowing? What specifically?
It's like dealing with a kid when you catch them in a lie and they have to explain to you what they did and why it's wrong. It's like dealing with children. It's fucking stupid, but it is.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what are you apologizing for? Why are you sorry?
Oh, speaking of dealing with children...
It shouldn't be a humiliation ritual, because that is what they do. And that's also very wrong. It should be very straightforward and simple.
Also, speaking of straightforward and simple, out of Washington, not D.C., because, well, out of Quincy, Washington, they seem to have a way of doing things that isn't insane and actually genuinely makes sense. Now, in and of itself...
The PNW? That is surprising.
Yeah. Well, it's because capitalism. So, they got a data center there in a small town. Quincy's not a big place. And what's happening there is the right thing. The data center, more power, more ability, more everything. It's, let's see here. What are they doing? They're funding a $120 million high school, library, and hospital, new police and fire stations, and they're going to be shouldering like half of all the local property taxes. This is great. This is how it should be done. If you're going to come in, don't come in on the backs of people. Come in as a viable business. and run your business.
And it seems the data center argument centers around a handful of these things coming in, and so the traditional like power agreement is that, hey, if you're going to consume, if we need to upgrade the system, it gets distributed amongst everybody. Data centers require so much power that they require upgrades to the system. So what should be happening is they're coming in and upgrading it for free.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, hey, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we can move in here. And, yeah, there's going to be a little run over. Because there needs to be a little.
We understand that we are an imposition and a change, and we're paying for the land, and we're paying for the power upgrades. And you know, the convenience of having whatever the siting desire and requirements are, but everything else has to be bought and paid for up front.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Expanded capacity, all that stuff is taken care of outside of us.
That is how you would... Well, this is how it's done. This is what you do. You come in, you're not an imposition, and you just make life better for everybody, and you run a good business. There you go. It's really that simple. But for some reason, this whole thing is impossible to figure out, I guess. Oh, but back to the Nathan Kaufnast thing, because there's actually some context that is very worth noting, and that is who made the decision to do that firing, and that was the rector, Petra de Sutter.
The Green Party person.
Yes, person. It's a good choice of words for
yes, it was
Paul de Sutter. Because Paul de Sutter is and was a gynecologist that all of a sudden liked them so much
that decided to torture people.
That he decided he wanted to go by Petra.
That from now on.
So, how about that? How about that? So, yeah, just a little bit of context, some background that might be worth knowing, as it were, you know, because wouldn't you just imagine that someone like that might, maybe, just putting it out there, have a little bit of a bias, perhaps? I know. Perish the thought. And anyway, back to Derek Chauvin, because we got an update by way of Mr. Waltz himself, Tim Waltz, the fellow that employed that guy that went and assassinated those people. Weird. Anyway, that Tim Waltz. Anyway, what he's had to say was that if Trump pardons Derek Chauvin, that they'll be putting him in a state prison so that he could serve out the rest of his sentence. Of course, you know. Now, this is after Waltz himself has, obviously, as you all know, pardoned a child abuser for, raping some children. You know, he's got his priorities in the order that seems most appropriate to him. So, there's that. He also granted pardon to the was it Laoshin? No, not Laoshin. I can't remember. He was from like a weird small Asian subcommunity, but Toluvang, I think. Oh yeah, no, it was Laoshin. Okay, how the hell did I remember that? Wow. So yeah, good enough for one guy, not enough for another. So here's an interesting one. There's a fella that went into an abandoned mall. Guy by the name of Steve Ronan. He was arrested for that. Let me see here. Let me get the Dextero story. About a year after he went in, he turned himself over. Didn't steal anything, nothing. Just went in, got some video of the abandoned building. Anyway, he's over a year after. Where's the sentencing information?
We are.
Oh, gotcha.
Territory here.
He's facing up to 6 years in prison.
Within 5 minutes.
Gotcha. Well, anyway, the guy's facing 33-year-old guy is facing 6 years in prison for taking video inside this abandoned place where, you know, you've got any number of immigrants, getting much less.
Right.
All right. So, yeah. We're getting towards the end. And I know that both of you guys... What's that?
What were they getting?
Oh, like a slap on the wrist, or in the case of England, they're turning out pamphlets now.
Oh yeah.
To say that, hey, you shouldn't rape women. By the way, it's not good. You shouldn't do that. So
yeah, that was kind of sad.
That's a bad thing to do.
You know, it's better than the German approach where they tell you if you ask men, then they'll allow you to rape them.
Well, if you ask and get consent, then it's not,
Right.
Well,
but yeah, I saw that and
Yeah.
I was like, oh my dear God.
Well, anyway, so let's throw out something fun real quick for the end of the night. So the first is dumb, and that is that we've already reported on this anyway. But there's a number of states like New York, for instance, that are moving forward with these 3D printed bullshit laws. Like your printers are going to have this, that, and the other. Like
Right.
they're going to have to insert microscopic readable features, this and or whatever. No, these are just not reasonable. And at the end of the day,
Violations of human rights is what they are.
for one, yes, and for two, they're basically unenforceable. They're just not viable, not
With
feasible.
current printers, for the most part.
True, but the thing is, as long
the
as
problem
printers
is
aren't locked down on
Bamboo and
firmware,
Bamboo and FlashForge
Mhm.
are among those I would never recommend again.
yeah, Bamboo Labs have shown themselves to be untrustworthy.
And FlashForge has advocated for these laws. I wish Amazon had a way for me to block a keyword or a retailer. I wish there was a fucking way to do it, because if I ever looking at 3D printers and shit or a filament, I never want to see FlashForge again.
That might
so
be a
fucking done with
really
it.
decent plugin.
It
You
would
know?
be, wouldn't it?
I mean,
Yeah.
just toss that shit at Grok, vibe code it, man. Go for it. Fuck it. So,
You're not wrong.
the other.
Hey.
This, of course, is by way of Brady, the Brady organization, Brady United. Formerly known as Handgun Control Incorporated. I wonder why they dropped the name. Oh, must not have polled too well. Anyway, they are inconsolable with Jensen v. ATF, as you can imagine. Let me just read from their statement here, because, their tears are our joy. What we are witnessing now is a transparent, concerted effort to deregulate these outrageously dangerous items. Brady President Chris Brown raged. The vast majority of Americans are not asking for this. Instead, an extreme, outspoken few across various levels of government are working on behalf of corporate profits when they should be upholding their fundamental duty to public safety. I was holding my pinky up and out, just to be clear there. In addition, right after that, they did the thing with, felons can get their rights back if they're not dangerous. And others. Eliminating in-person background checks, Brown bailed. Letting gun sales destroy sales records, loosening restrictions on highly lethal firearms, letting reckless gun sellers stay in the business of selling guns to the public. These proposals would strip away decades of protections that have saved lives and hold the gun industry accountable. And let me be clear, the consequences will be devastating. I imagine that.
Devastating.
Yes. I pronounced it as fancily as I could manage. And then Jensen happened on the 13th. And, oh man, yeah, we reported on that one on the last show. And, oh, there was a wailing and gnashing of teeth. But anyway, to quote Brown here, today our government is failing us. At midnight, uniquely lethal weapons and devices, including silencers, short-barreled rifles, and shotguns, were deregulated for the first time in nearly a century. The Department of Justice has the opportunity to act to protect our safety, but it failed to do so. Worse, 47 gun lobby beholden members of Congress directly urged Attorney General Branch to stand down. Our elected officials are supposed to serve the American people, not the gun industry's bottom line. Today, the gun industry and silencer dealers are celebrating while Americans are left less safe. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
I thought they were just oil filters.
Well, that's the fun thing. Brandon Herrera helped with that.
You know, hold on. I have to put one on my car, but I can't put one on my pistol. What?
Very, very unfortunate that these people have such limited reasoning skills.
But then, 4 days later, just as I told you about, we got... Oh, the first one, by the way, wasn't about the nonviolent felon thing. That one was about restoring and no longer going so hard on FFLs, like allowing people to be engaged in the business of. That was the one before. This one is in relation to the nonviolent felons being able to get their rights back. Since the administration indicated last year that it would propose a new rule to restore gun rights, we have underscored that the restoration of gun rights must involve a robust and thoughtful system that minimizes the risk to public safety. Yet the Trump administration has consistently shown us that they have no such discretion, including by restoring gun rights to convicted domestic abusers and violent January 6th insurrectionists, and by tirelessly rolling back broad policies proven to prevent gun crime and violence. And then the 18th rolled around, and we haven't got to the report on that one yet, but the frame and receiver thing, gone. So, oh yeah, no, we might have. Either way, yeah, the frame receiver thing, done, gone. You can buy frames and receivers together at 80% or whatever, because that doesn't mean you're doing whatever, blah.
Doesn't mean it's a gun yet.
Right. So anyway,
yeah.
Ghost guns are as easy to assemble as a piece of IKEA furniture. Undermining this rule
good.
Right? Exactly. Undermining this rule will result in unleashing untraceable and unregulated firearms based back into our communities.
They're already untraceable and unregulated. You just can't bring them across state lines if you make them yourself.
Well, actually...
Which by itself is a fucking violation of human rights.
Actually, you kind of can.
Like,
it depends on the state. But anyway.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, these firearms are designed to circumvent state and federal law. Today's ruling is detrimental to community safety and makes the work of law enforcement exponentially more difficult.
There's one law that matters on this, because it's written in the way that it should only be one law that matters on this. And that's the Second Amendment.
Uh-huh. Shall not be infringed. Eat a dick.
That's a declaration of our right and telling the government to fuck off. That's not what gives us the right. It's the naming of it. That's all.
And since I didn't
the whole point of rights is that they're inalienable.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. Now, since I didn't actually have two good ones there, I have actually got a second one to close us out. And it's a good one, boy. It's a good one. And now, we all heard about how EDP was able to slip the noose and get away with everything.
Good update.
Guess what? Maybe you shouldn't do an interview where you confess to literally all the fucking crimes. Because, when you do that, you might get your investigation reopened. And that is exactly what happened.
He doesn't understand that statute of limitations only exist for crimes that are known, and have specifics to them.
Yeah, you ain't in no double jeopardy, my friend. You are just in jeopardy. Kern County District Attorney Office to reopen the case of controversial YouTuber.
That guy is the kind of guy you need to bury under the jail.
Well, maybe this time we'll get the right result.
I think he should be hanging out with Lindsay Clancy.
Hmm. Fair.
Yeah, I think that they should share a noose.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, well, with that, was there anything either of you fellas were wanting to get to tonight?
I think we covered most of it here.
All right. Well, with that, I'll just grab a quick link to the latest Tyler Oliveira. He was out in Seattle and having a good time.
Boy.
So I'll just throw that down. He was fucking with a couple of crackheads, and
oh my goodness.
And it's just fun. It's just a good time, as you can imagine. Anyway, folks, it has been a pleasure. That guy, absolutely. Yes, him. But anyway, folks, it's been a pleasure. You can find my man, Steve, Ratman720. You can find Craig there, CraigBob99. I'm Evan, at That Fake Guy Dan, all the places. And this is the Fake Untitled Podcast. Thank you for being here. Share it with everybody that you can, that you know, that you love, and that you hate, because one of them bound to, dig it. So, see you soon. Be good. Be well. Be safe in this world gone wild.